Tartaria, Australia, and autodidactic. Good day, mate.
Hello, how
I've
you
decided
going?
to change the entrance. I think I want to start by going, mate,
Mate.
mate. That's how I talk to all my besties. Mate,
Hey.
mate. All right. Well, hey, everyone. How's it going? It's the 8th Lion Gate portal, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. But anyway, that is what today is. So here we are.
Here we are on our
You looking?
halfway day. It's
Yeah.
uh, it's 888.
So Campbell and I, as you guys know, I don't know much these days. Have been doing a water fast. And we're now on day 11,
Yes,
which means we've hit the midway point, which means we can start counting down as opposed to counting up.
I know. It's like an ice bath, but just really slow. When you're at the
Oh,
end of the
so
ice bath,
slow.
you go, "Ugh." But yeah,
You've
no,
got to be, uh,
it's not been too bad.
well, I
Um,
mean, you've got to be a stubborn bastard. Like, that's the case. You've got to be stubborn.
yeah, yeah, definitely. The last couple of days, I've had lots of times I'll be like, oh, go to the shop and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this food I could, but yeah, I mean, especially being halfway, it's like, well, I'm halfway. I might as well do the 21 days, get the full benefit, get the full reset and clean out because I'm
Yeah.
probably not going to do it again anytime soon.
No.
So,
Well,
got to be stubborn.
Campbell's been cruising through. He's been doing what I normally do, like a little legend. It's like cruising through. I've never done a water fast with another human being before. This is a brand new experience. Normally I'm solo, introverted, and yeah, to share it with someone has been cool. It's been a cool trip. I've enjoyed it. I've never done it before, so it's been fun,
Mm,
almost. Almost
yeah,
fun.
it hasn't. Yeah, it's definitely hasn't been like the introspective meditating all day kind of thing. So we're going to do a meditation tonight, but yeah, I mean, it's good. I've just, my energy's still pretty good. I'm feeling all right. And mate, I found the first 5 days just a breeze, really, just nothing at all. It was crazy, and I was a bit scared going into it, thinking this is crazy. No food for 3 weeks. But it's much easier than I thought. So if anyone's thinking of doing one, yeah, don't be too scared about it.
Yeah.
It's much easier than you think it would be.
It's definitely a really good reset for the body. It's once your digestive system shuts down, it's pretty cruisy, except for me this time, which has been a big shock and surprise. And I'm the one that champions this shit, man. I'm the one that like does this every 3 years. So I'm like I would consider myself an expert on this, but this time round, oh my God. Should I tell them my story?
Yeah, tell them. Yes, yes. Got a bit
So
sick.
yeah, I got so like everything was normal, as per expected, up until day 5. And then I started to vomit, and which is really freaking weird. And vomiting nothing because there's nothing there. So the first couple of vomits was sort of like phlegm. And I thought, okay, that's good. That's my, we've all known I've had a nice solid Kelly cough. But yeah, like I had this phlegm come up and I thought, well, that's good. It didn't taste like anything. It was very neutral. It wasn't like vomit. And I thought, go body. Yeah, release it all, man. That's why we're here. And then it kept going. And I started to get this horrible sensation in my stomach that was creeping up to just above my chest. And then like making me feel really nauseous. And then I would vomit like 4 times. And then each time the vomiting was getting more burny. There was still nothing in it. It was mainly water, but burny. And this was going on like, I mean, I was vomiting like, I don't know, 10 times a day. So 3 days in a row it went on, and I was fucked. It was fucked. I've never had anything like that happen before, ever. So I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what could possibly be causing me to feel this way because we're just on water. And but then it dawned on me like one night really late where I was feeling very desperate because I'd vomit, then my heart was starting to pulsate. And on top of that, it would make me go to the toilet at the same time I wanted to vomit. I mean, gross details, guys, but we're all about sharing and loving in this space. And go to the toilet while you're water fasting. I tend to do it up until the week and a half. I mean, it gets runnier and less of anything. But anyway, so I would want to vomit and go to the toilet at the same time. How many times have you pooed this fast, Campbell?
Like twice.
Twice. Twice. So I always poo way more than that, but this particular one's way more. And it dawned on me, ready? This is what I've done wrong. So this is a good teaching for everyone. I did a 3-week worm like parasite cleanse before the fast. So I did it. It was just a herbal concoction from the naturopath. And I did it. And what has happened, we think, is that the parasite cleanse wiped out my gut biome. So emptied the lining of my stomach. I already think that the issues that I have with holding weight and just feeling, old and shit is because I've got some issues with my gut. And the gut is most likely like leaky gut syndrome, which we all have, by the way. But when you add that to like parasites and add it all together and it's been festering away, even if you have a friggin' excellent diet like we do, it was just anyway. So I think I maybe annihilated my gut biome, and then the water was all cool for the first 5 days, and then it started to produce an acid reflux sensation in me, and basically the water was not serving me. And you can't get rid of acid reflux because it relies on not having an empty stomach. So that was a complicated paradox of being on a fast. So anyway, so out of desperation, I first tried bicarb soda and water, and that helped a little bit. So we knew that it was acidic. And then I just had to have something. So I had a cup of broth. So my household is a big broth drinking family. I don't love it, but it gets made here in production all the time. It takes 3 days, and it's all our chickens and all our meat. And it's very stinky, very long process. And then you get this like liquid gold at the end of it, full of collagen and fats. And so basically I had to start taking broth. So now I'm on a liquid diet with water and broth, and that's what I'm now on for the next 11 days. So for me personally, long story short, whatever pathway I meant to be on with this healing process, it's to do with healing my gut. So it looks like my body has shown me water is not that for me right now, and broth is definitely, because broth will line, it's got hits collagen, fats, it'll line the lining of my gut and the stomach. So I think I'm on a better path. Yet I've never heard of broth fasting. And
No,
I can
we
tell you
looked it
one thing
up
about it,
though.
Campbell.
People do it. What were they drinking? 3 to 4 liters a day, which is absolutely
4 liters a
crazy.
day.
That's
Far out, man.
insane.
That's 12 cups, which
Yeah.
I don't even know how you could even afford that.
Yeah.
Like broths, if you don't make it yourself, it's very expensive. And if you do make it, it takes 3 days. So, and you don't get that
You don't get
much.
that much. Yeah, exactly right. So that's crazy. But yeah, the
But
gut biome, right? You needed to rebuild your gut biome, your little all the good stuff in your gut. And we watched the video as well, didn't we? What was it called? Pack Your
oh
Health.
yeah, Hack Your Health. It's on Netflix. It was
Mm.
pretty good. I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I
it
thought it was
was it
pretty
was
good.
made well as well. It was made, interesting to watch and look at. But
What,
yeah,
you like the knitted poo sequence, did you? Or the little knitted
that's right. It
puppet
ended
poo
off
sequence.
about, oh my God. But basically it was saying that most of, our ailments in the West are caused by a lack of the right gut biome. And
Yeah.
it was interesting, like they're saying everything from mental disease,
Oh.
weight holding,
Mm.
just everything, right? All these
Mm-hmm.
different ailments is from your gut. And because of our diet, because it's so processed, we've lost all this gut bacteria basically. And they did a test, went all around the world and found, yeah, native, more traditional native type people were fine. And
Yeah.
we know this, right? That's why you never see those people fat or anything, or even really sick very often. And they
Yeah.
just eat and eat and eat and eat. Most of them, like India, just eat
Yeah.
and eat and eat and eat. And eat. They're all skinny. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. And they were saying from that because I've known about this friend, one of my, arch nemesis who have stalked me down in my days. She had bipolar, and she did poo transplants. I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but basically this was in 2016. So poo. So this is, I think it's good. I was into it when I heard about it all those years ago. But basically, if you take the poo of someone who has a healthy gut flora, or just someone who doesn't have the illness or symptoms or issues that you have. So in this case, if you have, say, strong depression or mental health issues, and then you got someone who doesn't have that disposition, then you could take their poo. Yep. And then basically blend it up in a blender, a special poo blender. I mean, just a blender you buy at the shop, but it would become your special poo blender. And you have a special shelf away from the kitchen. And in that poo blender, you'd put the poo and some water. And then that would then like get liquefied and pour with special poo funnels into poo capsules. And then you'd freeze the capsules and you just swallow it, right? And so in that capsule, you would actually have this like the
All
gut
the
flora of
bacteria.
the
Yeah, yeah.
person who doesn't have, say, depression or whatever the issue, doesn't have autoimmune system, doesn't have obesity, whatever it is that you're trying to deal with. And I think that's kind of cool. I think that's smart. It makes sense to me. I think it's probably a very new I don't know, healing
Ew.
modality.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a bit gross, but I mean, you don't actually, touch the poo, I guess.
But you
But I
could.
mean, it's coming out now that the gut is, basically everything, right? And it kind of makes sense, right? That's the machine. That's where everything gets broken down
Yeah.
and made and mixed up and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, like if you maybe look into the gut if you've got any ailments, anything that you want to get rid of, because they did that. They were talking about exactly that, right? They were getting people with just different ailments and diseases and giving them the poo of someone who didn't have that,
Mm-hmm.
and they were getting really good results. So interesting stuff.
I mean, there's possibilities of like also taking on things from their gut that isn't positive to you as well. Like that's obviously an option that could happen at the same time. But I think predominantly it's a very smart concept, and I think I like
Mm,
it, and I'm not opposed to trying it. And yeah, I think maybe in the future we'll see quite a lot of, poo labs going on
mm.
out there where you can go and get a poo transfer and sort your gut, sort your gut out. I mean, it
Yeah.
makes so much more sense than any other drug on the market, right? Than
Well, I mean,
basically
I
just
guess it's yeah.
pharmaceuticals in general.
It's just our perception of how gross it is, but yeah, at least it's not full of chemicals and crap, right?
No,
So it's an
I
interesting one.
don't
So
find poo gross, because I'm always in it, because we're farmers. I mean, it's shit
well, animal
everywhere. I'm
poo is
always
different
stepping
than
in
human
it.
poo, I think.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when you go to a country like India or something, and like you always get like this the steamy smells of poo and animal poo, and you go like that's it's kind of comforting, and
Yeah, well, I mean, and
I don't have an issue.
that's the other thing is, they were saying another major, loss of all this biome was people washing their hands and being keep
Ah,
sanitized and kids not playing in the dirt and eating it and all this
mhm.
kind of stuff. And so, yeah, get out there, man, get out in the dirt, smell a bit of, steaming poo. And
Well, yeah. I
they,
mean, we were the last generation, weren't we?
yeah,
That.
exactly. Like who are actually out there all the time.
I
So
mean,
that's,
did you eat
that's,
dog food?
I don't think I ever ate dog
Did you
food.
never try it? You never
Oh,
tried the
no,
dog food? I'm sure we
I
all
think
tried dog
at
food
one
in the
stage
70s.
we got like these biscuits that were choc chip, like choc chip.
Choc chip.
Yeah, man. And I think I might have tried one of them at one point.
You can't give dogs chocolate.
Well, it probably wasn't chocolate, but that's what they were called, I remember.
All
And they
right.
were a special dog.
They were probably wormers. There was probably Combantrum.
Hey, who knows? Who
Basically, as a
knows?
kid in the 70s, you kind of couldn't resist. You ate whatever you were playing in. You did to try it. I
Yeah,
did. I tried
especially as a
Play-Doh and
little
mud
kid,
and
you just
soil
eat
and
everything, right? And I was
yeah,
always covered in mud and like cutting my knees open and like they'll get covered
licking your
in
blood.
yeah, yeah, and then the cuts would get covered in dirt and stuff, and you just wouldn't wash it until you went home, and you know. And now with all this, over supervision and force last 4 years washing your hands and that, It's not good for you. So, and the other thing they said was variety. So, on our ever, searching quest for the right human diet.
Oh,
I
this is
think we're
totally
gonna,
counteractory to carnivore.
yeah, it is. So I think I'm definitely going to add a bit more variety in, and fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut and things like that, bit in every meal, and we'll see how that goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, Campbell and I, we've really looked at so many different diets and
Done
but
them all.
anyway, it's up to your discretion. Go try whatever works. But so the point of this is one last thing I'd like to mention on this like health update is two things for me. One is I have discovered that broth fasting is a hardcore friggin' laxative.
Yes,
It's like it basically makes you go to the toilet all the time, which is an interesting thing to experience fasting. I mean, not just wheeze. I'm talking go the toilet, and to go to the toilet like 6, 7 times a day while you're fasting is like you're having seriously whatever's coming out of you must be really deep inside you. Like it must be right deep into the colon, the bowels of the colon. It must be right down the rabbit hole, the Kelly Jones rabbit hole. And
yeah,
so I feel like there's something going on there which I've never reached before, which I think is positive.
getting a super clean, super scrub.
Nice, gross podcast we've started. But I have to tell you, Campbell, I am feeling remarkably positive.
Good. Well, you definitely look a lot better than you did a few days ago. That's for
I
sure. You're
know.
in a bit
It
of a
was
hard way
definitely.
there, but I mean, as soon as you had that first broth, pretty quickly you'd pepped up and we're looking a bit better. But yeah, man, and I think we're both losing a bit of weight, which is
Yeah, I mean,
just extra.
like no, yeah. I mean, look, I mean, we've been doing it now for 11 days. It's like a week and a half. So I think we've got another like 10 to go. So yeah, I mean, I reckon I reckon we'll be at about 10 kilos each. That would be my guess. I'd say we haven't got scales or anything, so we can't actually do the maths on that. But
Yeah, man, I'm finally gonna lose my gut that I got from America the first time I went there. Oh,
and can you
there's a
hear
big
that?
plane going over.
Yeah, fucking jets, man. All week, these big military jets. This morning, I don't know if you heard it,
Yeah,
Campbell.
man, that
Oh,
was so low and loud,
so
man.
low. I actually had a heart attack.
That was crazy. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting monitored by military planes, man,
Yeah.
flying
Thanks,
over.
jets. I don't know the point of you, jets. It's not like you're at war, jets. It's not like the people you're at war with officially
Do you
should
know
be
what it's
those.
for? It's for climate change. They're saving the planet by not burning all that fuel for no reason.
Right. Yes, that's right. They fly around like they've got a war to fight,
Uh,
which go blow up the pyramid structure. That would be fun. Then we'd all cheer you.
yeah,
Anyway,
mm,
so I'm feeling positive, which is good because when we started this fast, I was not feeling positive. My disposition was very doomsday, very much, and it has been like that for ages. I oscillate between oh, I love this
yes.
world. I love the animals. I love the planet. I love nature too. What's the fucking point of all this? Once you know all this, what's the fucking point? Like, there's no point to like strive for any of this because it's all going to be
I know, right?
fucking fuck out in
I
the
feel
end.
like I could be a counselor at this point. I might go get a job.
Yeah, Campbell likes to maintain a balanced disposition to my endless questioning of reality. But I don't get it, Campbell. How can you sit here and say it's all going to be whatever you say? It's like I don't take it anyway. But the reason that like I got triggered on day one is because for the first time ever, because I don't know, there's been a little bit of chat around the truther world the last couple of weeks about this thing called MCO, which I mean, I don't know where Campbell and I were while this was all going down. It was like in 2019, but I had never heard of the term MCO before. I'd never even saw any information on it. It was all like brand new. So I just was like, what's this MCO thing? So off we went, and it's basically it's exactly what we have been talking about, which is that this world goes through a very cyclic habitual catalysm. which they've called EMCO, which is basically electric magnetic pulse, which, you know, the plasma
Apocalypse, pretty
apocalypse, as
same
Jay
kind
would
of thing.
say. And actually, Jay developed his work from off the back of the foundation of this
Yeah,
concept
yeah.
of
Well, that
EMCO.
was some of his, yeah, where he got some of it, yeah.
So, all right. So that was just another thing that reiterated this idea that there is a cyclic we call reset, but a cyclic catastrophe that resets everything, right? So then we went and did some research as to where this came from, this information, and it came out of a channel called Mia's New Pair of Glasses, which I'd never heard of, and you'd never heard of, had you?
Right, right.
So I don't know if the Aussies were just behind the time on this one or what the
Yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
but like never even crossed my channels, never heard of it. So Mia's New Pair of Glasses is this channel which is dripping in mystery because the woman on
Oh,
it and her
yes.
partner, the inspiration of the work, were found dead, we think. Well,
Well, that's the
reportedly.
reports that, that they basically unalived themselves, which, but it's all a bit strange and mysterious. Not
It
much
is
on it, yeah.
it's strange because um and this is a reported report. She was found in a house suffocated by a pillow. The dog had been suffocated and he had a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So all of that would set itself up as like a suicidal experience, which, you know, would denote the work they were talking about because they would be saying the exact same thing. You can't, there's no channel on this, you know, there's no platform or channel that is not controlled. And to get this information out, you'll end up dead, basically, is what they were saying. But then if you look into it a bit more, there's no news on it, there's no newspaper articles, there's nothing that actually sets it up as a serious, it's just a
Hmm.
report on another YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have seen on a video the death certificate, but for some reason it wasn't signed, which was weird. But it did have self-inflicted, wounds. But yeah, it's all a bit strange, and they were definitely talking about they were going to get through this, and they were going to, through the cataclysm, which they
They're excited.
thought was coming up, fairly soon. Yeah, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's all a bit weird. But anyway, Mia on her, well, you can find it on BitChute. Mia's New Pair of Glasses made a series. What was it? The controllers or
Yeah, yes. This is why we're talking about it, because I
yes.
reckon most of you Aussies would never have heard of this series either. Well, if you know, you maybe now you have in the last couple of weeks because of this conversation that's been going on, but it's called Masters and Controllers, the series. So if you go to BitChute and type in Masters and Controllers, you can see the whole thing. It goes from part 1 to part 37 or something, 38, and never got finished, as was the demise of the creators. But it's all there available, and it's just as great as watching Fall of the Cabal.
Yeah,
Like, it was
that
really
was
fun to
pretty good.
watch.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know,
It depressed you.
yeah, it pissed me off and depressed me and put me back into my into my you know, disempowered state of grumbles around the fact that, because the thing is with me, Campbell, is that I actually have memories. See, this is my issue. I remember too much. I have memories from past lives. I have memories that show me that we have been through catalysms over and over and over again. I've got memories of how big I've got memories of the origin of us and how gigantic we were, and then how we have shrunk down and down and down to this very pathetically tiny, shrunken reality that we live in today with our small, small little minds. Oh my God, the small mindedness of this realm fucking does my head in, my friend. It does my head in. I can't handle it. The smallness of the civilization that we live in, the smallness of the whole thing, the lack of long view, the lack of anything like that, the small attitudes we hold that cause us to harm things and hurt animals and just do awful things to each other, and that it's so enslaved by pyramid structure, and it's pyramids upon pyramids within a pyramid, and it's all this like impossible, and we're right down the bottom of this caste system that you can never break free from, and all this energy work and all this like lofty manifestation, like it doesn't even hold weight because we're so small-minded in this small reality, and I can't stand it and drives me mental.
Anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of that just fucks me off, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean it is, yeah. I mean it's annoying. That's one of the things they talked about was the caste system and how we basically can't ever get out of our caste, and we're in the lowest one. I mean, it is one that, you can get a certain amount of wealth and stuff, but we all know once you go above a certain level, you've got to start
Yeah.
attending certain events, sign certain documents, do certain things.
Yep.
And that's the only way to get through, basically. So yeah, most people, yeah, we're stuck, I guess. But
And you never own anything.
who'd want to be in the upper caste anyway, for one thing?
Yeah, it's not,
Well,
that's
yeah,
not the
I mean, yeah,
point.
yeah. What's the point of going up? But I mean, we can kind of own things, but yeah, I mean,
No, you
we
don't own
don't.
anything.
Yeah, you can pay your house off. You don't own it because if you don't pay,
If you pay it off 3 times, you can pay your house off.
yeah. But then even if you don't pay your property tax, or even if it's
Yeah.
all paid off, they can take
Yeah.
the house away
That's right.
as
If
soon
the
as you
Queen
register
decides they want to mine
anything.
it,
Yeah,
yep. If there's a war and they want to steal all your food,
yeah.
yep. It's
In
like you never
Australia, I
own it.
think you only own 4 feet of the land. So yeah, if there's something underneath you, that they can come in and
Yep.
just start
Yep.
doing what they want.
You don't own the airspace above you, the military does.
Yeah, yeah, as we just found out.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, like basically we own
mm,
nothing. And we have to work really hard to own nothing.
yeah,
And
to
if you
own nothing and be happy.
Yeah. See, so that pisses me off, Campbell. And it drives me mental
Fair
because
enough.
I remember what we have been through in previous experiences.
Hmm.
And this one is most pathetic. It's the most pathetic one.
Yeah.
So I remember being so freaking big that my hand could have knocked down the pyramid structure. Like that's how big we were once. Now, okay, so I got grumpy and I don't want to, there's so many points we could make about what they were saying in this series because there were some really good points. And basically, it's entirely disempowering because every single one of those points basically validates the fact that you are a slave you got no chance. You can't break out of it. You can't, and that the whole purpose of the agendas, the elite agendas, so take all the aliens, all the reptilians, the aliens, everything else that we put on the chessboard out of the game and just put it down to human beings that have like basically gone through the last reset, survived pretty well, and come out and rebuilt society in their image and what they want it to look like, and plan to do it exactly like that again because they know it's cyclic. They literally know it's going to happen again. So according to this documentary, she was saying that they have spent the last 200 since the last time 250 years basically planning to survive the next one.
Mm. I mean,
So
that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
go.
All right. What a pathetic, that's just so dumb.
So yeah, so there's layers to this answer, right? There's layers to that. So hold
Mm.
that thought, because number one, they have spent the last whole amount of time doing two things: preparing themselves, getting the resources, getting us to develop the technology, coveting the technology, controlling the technology, building the undergrounds, doing everything they could possibly do to make sure and assure that their bloodline and their society survives the next ones and comes out of it as leaders of the next one and quickly rebuilds it in the image that they want and continues on for the next couple of 100 years. In the meantime, their whole purpose is to distract us.
Mm.
So to keep our attention completely off this idea of there being an event that occurs so that we're running around. And in all of that, they said every single cause, every single issue, every single everything has been a controlled, highly controlled ploy to take our minds off it, including, well, all the shit we know, all the stuff that we spent our whole lives debunking as, truth seekers. But then on top of that, everything else.
Mm. Yes, quite depressing indeed. But I mean, as I said, it's just a theory, right? We don't know that this is true. And,
Well, see, this is his
you know,
voice of reason.
well, when we look back at buildings, right? Like the Tartarian buildings, you know, clearly one thing you would think a bit of time. I mean, you could do it within a reset, but that's not built by minds that are thinking about let's just attract everyone, get some crap up, and basically put all the money into getting us, underground tunnels or whatever it is to hide out in. So when you look back at what's around us physically from the past, that story I don't doesn't hold weight with me, and I still believe in the cyclic, the cycle, the sine wave. We go through a good energy period, then to a bad one, a good one. So I'm sure this scenario has happened many times before, but it looks like when it's in the good period, we build stuff like we see from the past, right? Amazing things. And when it's in the bad one, we just get these crap, right? Like all this
Unless Campbell,
architecture, brutalism, and just
I
entrapment
agree.
and slavery, and that's just where we happen to be at the moment. But I think we're coming out of it. The world is
So there's two
waking.
layers to that. I
Well,
think the shift to positive to negative is a wild card, and I think my money's on that that's true. That we shift to a positive, as we've spoken in the past, a positively charged experience. I
hmm,
think that's true. I think that's going to amplify the nature of those who are positively charged 100%.
hmm,
That's good.
yes,
But on the other hand, Campbell, there is another concept, another choose your own adventure direction, which would be that those who have taken over this um, reset a new like they survived the last one and managed for whatever reason, however they survived well enough to take over this one and be the ones in control, have spent the last 300 years planning the next one, so that inevitably they have considered the idea that we're moving into a different charge, or that maybe they are actually going to pull it off and survive and continue their enslavement of the. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
hmm.
what I'm saying is this may be a new variable in the case that an actual society survives and thrives and like everyone else, and they're prepared to do it again. I don't know.
I think they're definitely trying to. I think they're trying to get through. They probably believe that they can somehow get through to the next epoch, and with some people for slaves, right? Some survivors. I totally believe that, but I don't think they can. Even if they get through, like all the energy is going to be different. The environment might be different, but basically they're not going to be empowered anymore, right? People of a positive charge are the ones that are going to be empowered and more powered up
That's a
by
guess.
the ether and the etheric energy. So even if they get through and try their old games, I don't believe it's going to work. But I think they're going to
Uh,
try. I think that's what they're doing, right? They're all building underground bunkers and stuff, so that they obviously don't believe it's going to be a flood. They obviously believe it's going to be something probably in the sky. So I think they
Plasma.
know about these resets, but yeah,
So, interestingly, though, they did say on the documentary that first and foremost, they were going to try to use this moment to leave the realm.
yeah,
Actually, that
that's
they did say
interesting.
that it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
about
Jay
staying
talks
here.
about that a lot as well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
The dome or whatever will open up, and that's why they've been basically that's what NASA is, right? That's what all these rocket tests are, because we know they're not going to space. And there's even that video a few years ago. Do you remember? And it was a rocket, and it had this massive big white sort of ball around it. Looked like a boat going across water.
oh,
Yeah,
skimming the
yeah,
water.
skimming on the top of the
Mm.
water. And there's been what was it, Project Fishbowl, where apparently they sent bombs up. Is that true or not? We don't know, but yeah, it looks like they're planning to try and get out. That that they got trapped here somehow. I mean, Jay says that, when it opens, beings can come in and
Yeah.
beings can leave. And so, yeah, they came in, got trapped, don't like it here, and that they want to get out. So that's what all this rocketry stuff is. It's all about.
Oh, you think they didn't start here?
I don't know.
That's a new
No,
variable.
I've always thought that that the evil has come in from somewhere. I don't think the earth is inherently evil, even though, a lot of people say it's Satan's realm and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe that because look around. If you go out into the middle of nature, you know, it's a pretty nice place, really.
Yeah, and people are excellent.
Yeah,
That's the
people
other
are
thing.
good.
Like
Mm,
everywhere we've traveled, people are excellent. The
mm,
world's looking excellent. Everywhere we've been, the world looks beautiful and the cultures are beautiful and thriving and everything is beautiful and pristine in the environment. Like everywhere, India, China, Bosnia, Croatia, that whole area. I'm going to Africa at the end of the year. I'm going to Egypt and Jordan and Morocco. I'm going to go and see that side of the world. Like, but everywhere we've traveled, it's fucking beautiful.
mm,
It's not only beautiful, it's thriving. It's not only thriving, it's full of like excellent human beings.
mm.
It's like, and it's a beautiful cultures everywhere we go.
Yep,
Like this whole concept that the world's fucked and overpopulated and all, I mean, it's all bullshit.
all bullshit for sure, man. And
And
so
of
much
course,
creativity, right?
so yeah, so that's good to know, everyone. Be very clear about that. It is all bullshit. Go, if you don't believe us, save up and go overseas and check it out anywhere you like, and it'll all be thriving and beautiful and perfect and looking amazing. So the thing is, right, we're in a situation now where that's very depressing information. And it would mean from the off the back of that series that like you would stop everything else you're putting your attention on, everything else is a distraction. Everything else is not only a distraction, but let's be really clear, a very controlled distraction. Very controlled. Meaning, and they were very clear about this. This is, I mean, we don't know what's right or wrong, but they were very clear on saying that every single thing you have access to on every single platform, including YouTube, is controlled. And if you are not being controlled, it's because, and your numbers will just never crack. They'll never crack through. Like you might look like you have 100,000 subscribers, aka autodidactic, but your shows will like basically average below the 10,000 view marks because you'll never ever get through unless you're supported by or by the agenda or your
Supporting the
um
agenda,
yes, or
yeah,
what the
without knowing
information
it.
you have
Yeah.
supports their agenda, and whatever that is.
Mm,
Like, it was obviously part of the agenda to release to the concept of the flat Earth. Like that just became Tartaria has been part of the agenda. Like it has been.
mm.
Suddenly out of nowhere, a million trillion awesome photos that no one had ever fucking seen just were like suddenly appeared. This whole storyline, and then all these people just suddenly like appeared talking about it. It was suddenly there. It was just suddenly there. That's like controlled.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that they said in the series, isn't it? That all this stuff and truth stuff and all Tartaria photos gets released because they want some people, they're trying to find out who the thinkers are, right? So that they and give them a few clues so that they're ready because they want people to survive and go
Oh,
through.
yes, that's right. They want
Mhm.
some smart truthers, I guess, some smart humans who are conscious enough to work this out for themselves to survive. So they've got their new race of slaves, basically.
Slaves, yeah, great. Woohoo.
But smart slaves, not
Not
like
those.
brain dead, fucked up, so to watching the Kardashian slaves. They want some smart slaves again, right? So they're
Mm.
going after people who could. They apparently they leave enough clues that you can work it out enough to try to survive it. What does that look like? That looks like basically creating a situation. Well, I'm assuming where you're underground.
Well, to get through the cataclysm, yeah. And I mean, it
Yeah,
is interesting, we
it
see
is
these
so
empty
hard.
cities and we see these orphans everywhere and we see all the kids running everything in the factories and everything. And then suddenly the cities are repopulated with adults and, you know, so it does look, and you know, we've obviously been talking about this for years. Like, where did all the orphans come from? So it does look like, yeah, that there may have been a reintroduced population. But at the same time, we have all the native populations as well that don't seem to have gone through that and seem to have made it through the last cataclysm, if
I
there
don't
was a
know about that.
pardon.
I don't know about that. I don't know about the timeline of our tribal people. I'm
Well,
not
no, we
sure.
don't know for sure because again, like you look at the world's fairs and they were literally introducing them right in human zoos.
Yes. And they got introduced their creation story like we did. You know,
Mm,
they got introduced, they got placed and introduced like we did. The indigenous cultures around the world are pretty fucked up, just like we are. You know, like this concept that I mean, most of them don't even know their great grandparents like we do.
mm,
Actually, is the truth.
mm,
If you speak to elders, you know, they will speak along those lines. That most people now do not know or cannot identify their ancestors. Whatever knowledge they have, it's not dissimilar to ours.
mm.
So I don't believe they and I think maybe you have some. I mean, we'll talk further to some of the elders about this topic and just see if there is information there with some direct questioning about, you know, cyclic catalysms. Because
Research, yeah, yeah, we haven't really asked that yet. Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, also with resets, like, you know, I think every, you know, 10 or so resets, we might get a big one that's almost worldwide, you know, like the flood story we get. But I don't think most of them are worldwide. I think that, you know, from what we see around us, it looks like they hit specific points, right?
oh, I disagree.
You
I
think
think they're worldwide.
every
Yeah,
time?
I think they're worldwide event. I think that they can be their intensity can be different, but I think generally speaking, they're worldwide events. From my perspective, when it's a fire situation, I think that's in the sky and in the oceans. And when it's flooding, I think it's worldwide.
Well,
And
flooding would be worldwide, I would think. Wow.
I think every single time the terrain is changed, the earth is
Yeah,
changed
well,
as a result. And civilizations are melted if or destroyed or
yeah, we
lifted
do
or
see the
fucking
melting and the
collapsed.
mud floods and all that kind of stuff, but we don't see the melting
No, history
everywhere,
tells us,
do we? So that's the
but
thing.
the history does tell us that
Sorry, here you go.
there's whole edits in our history. There's whole like vooms, 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 as if the whole thing was like stopped and then started again. I think history's so fucked up.
Yeah. Reuse the old stories from the.
And but do you think that the last catalysm was the flooding? It was a flood. It was the flood. It's been hijacked by Christianity, by the way, but the flood.
No, not the last one. Um, I mean, I think a lot of the mud flood buildings came from it, and I mean, we're just not really sure, but there's obviously lots of reports of, you know, dirt falling from the sky, red dirt, right? A lot of the references say blood was falling and all this stuff. So we know a lot
Yeah,
of
that's right. Yeah.
dirt has fallen from the sky, and that could be the mud flood, right? You know, there could be
Yeah.
other things that caused it, you know, like, but we don't really know. But it doesn't look like there was total devastation in the last one because we've got all these buildings in really good condition everywhere. They're just mud flooded, and they
But
look.
it's
And
devastating enough to kill the life forms.
oh, I think it froze.
No,
Oh,
I'm
no.
here, you're here. Um, so I mean, like if you look at that, so I mean, what if it's like the cyclic nature? Interestingly, that Netflix thing came out at Three Body Problem. It's interesting because it talks at the beginning about a realm that has a cyclic issue. It just constantly it can't survive. Something always wipes it out, right? Just, you know, same sort of concept. But
Hmm.
like if it's essentially to do with our electric magnetic field, Campbell, then essentially wouldn't the catalysms be always on in the same vein of, you know, what damage can be done by the electric magnetic field, so plasmic in nature, which would explain explain, if you look at the mud flood, then that would be the, there's something, either speeding up or lifting up. And you've got that sort of what was it called? The liquid.
Liquefaction.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that could be part of it. I mean, I guess the devastation would be caused by, the amount of charge. How much power is behind the reset? Are they always the same? Are they different?
No,
Uh,
I don't think they're always the same because like
no,
this
neither
does
do
feel
I.
different. This one
I think it
feels like
probably
there's a
builds
massive
up
different build
over
up.
time, and then like every whatever, we get a big one. Um,
Yeah.
it's just, and for so many people to have gotten through, it looks like quite a few got through in different places and just all the buildings, right? It doesn't look like we've had a massive, really massive destruction one for a few cycles, I would say. Because
Yeah,
all the
I agree with
buildings
that.
that we see, look, they must have been through what, three or four cataclysms, right? And they're still standing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So, all right. So, okay. So, all of that would mean, and by the way, just to be super clear, this documentary also did put religion, hello, into its own pyramid, within the pyramid, within the pyramid.
Oh,
So,
of
just so
course.
you know,
Control
just in
that.
case there's any lingers out there on our channel who still think Christianity is an independent thing that hasn't been 1000% controlled and created by the agenda, like it's across the whole board. Everything has been controlled and only released if it serves the agenda. And they love religion because it releases it just like gets everyone so caught up. And the other thing about I found interesting was that they weren't that that level where you feel like you have to sell your soul to Satan to keep moving up the chain. Well, their version of selling your soul to Satan was Satan is just one of the pyramid languages. It's not a thing. Like Satan is the top of the pyramid, the invisible humanity that sits up there, whoever they are, like basically, and they own you. They own your soul. You no longer have choice. They're saying every celebrity owns nothing. All their wealth is meaningless. They own nothing. They can never stop making movies. They can never stop playing sport. They can never stop singing until they are told they're allowed to because it serves the agenda. The agenda would just like have them die on stage
Oh,
of exhaustion.
it's so true. Look at the Rolling Stones, man. They're in the 80s and they're still
Yeah.
touring.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered,
They
like,
can never
all these
retire.
old people, like Bob Dylan, there's so many of them, and they just constantly tour. And they're supposed to be so rich that they wouldn't need to. And
Yeah.
even like sports people, like I saw Shaquille O'Neal, he goes on sports shows and all this kind of stuff. And like, why?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be worth hundreds of millions. And but he's still out there working, right? That they don't get to retire.
No, they have their money is not their money. Within a second, if they don't do what they're told, it's taken all away from them and they'll figure out how to throw them in jail. They're
Well,
completely
yeah.
without rights.
Do you remember that guy? He was an actor. It was probably, oh gosh, 5, maybe even 10 years ago. And he was out there like yelling basically that, it was all a scam and, Hollywood was evil and all the stuff. Oh, what was his name? He was the guy who was in National Lampoon's Christmas. Oh, and a few of them actually. The cousin,
Random.
the real
No.
hillbilly cousin
No.
is him. And as soon as he started speaking, like literally all his money just disappeared from his bank
Yep.
accounts and everything.
Yep.
He ended up with nothing. They just took
Yep.
it all. Mm.
They own nothing. It's all it's all an illusion. It's all a delusion. It's all a deception. They're in the same caste system as us. They don't, it appears that they're not, and our attention's meant to be focused on them, but they literally own nothing. Every song that you've ever heard, every song comes out of like this machine. And there was an interesting film Campbell and I watched about the Music Man that sits there, this old decrepit soul, ugly old decrepit soul and his piano, surrounded in these gifts, these tokens from all these musicians. He's basically written every single song that we've grown up to, every song that we've rebelled against, every song that's motivated us to romanticize or to be in love or to celebrate our birthdays or to celebrate our, when we want to be radical and fuck the system. Like all of that music is all coming out very controlled by potentially one or two human beings. Like
Mm.
it's that bad.
It is, but we've seen that over the last 4 years, right? With all these bands, like Rage Against the Machine, right? Literally, you couldn't go to their concerts unless you had the Jabby Wabby and all this kind of stuff. Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it. They did the same
Ugh,
thing.
they were so scary.
Kiss did it.
Yep.
Metallica did it. Metallica did it. Like so many of these bands that we think are so
Yep.
rebellious, and we're going, yeah, F the system, woo, yeah, yeah. Like they are the system.
Yeah. So that's quite an overwhelming thing to think about. I mean, really sit here for a second and really contemplate that fact. Every single song that's
Mm,
ever moved you or driven you or as a teenager inspired you or as an adult, like you drank wine to or broke up to or whatever, every single one of those songs which invoked your feelings, all of them have been delivered to you by the very controlling agenda.
yeah,
Now that's a head fuck. That's a big thing. Like, and it's really
it's huge.
complicated now because you can't even listen to music hardly at all ever. You have to really
No,
search for those
yeah,
independent, real
there's
human
yeah,
beings.
there's still good independents out there, but anything on the radio that's been promoted on the radio is just nuts. That's there for a reason.
I mean, right down to Happy Birthday, all your Christmas songs, or your every single fucking song. All the songs, Whitney Houston, Nirvana, just
The Beatles, man, that was
Queen,
a
the
hard one.
Beatles.
The
I
whole
mean, Queen, they were my band, man.
Queen, yeah, Queen, just sucks,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So all of it. So that's how control, which means so the one thing the agenda has done so beautifully and powerfully, and we know this, is it has worked very hard at understanding how to deliver emotions to us.
Yes,
So all of our emotions, all of our feelings, all of our words around it, all of all of that stuff has been very contrived and controlled and created by them.
yeah, totally.
Shit, man.
Yeah,
Fuck.
man, it's a big agenda. It's a big club, and you ain't part of it. Yeah, and it's all distraction as well. I will just say, with songs, it doesn't mean you can't listen to them or they're going to necessarily be evil, but you've got to understand where they came from and maybe listen to the lyrics. It's interesting listening to lyrics from the opposite point of view because we all think they're talking for us, but maybe they're talking to us, and that changes the whole kind of theme of the song and the message and everything. So,
Yep.
but there's so much good alternative music out there. There's tons. Get into Jason Mraz at the moment. He's good.
Yeah, I've been enjoying him, but like, I mean, how independent is he? Can
Yeah,
we
well, that's the
really like?
thing.
He's
He's
pretty
I don't know
big.
how big he is commercially. He's definitely got a few views on YouTube. So, but like I said, you can take what you want from the music. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Don't. If I just go for if they're good lyrics, I'm
I
into it.
mean, it's no
Yeah,
different.
none of them big man. The big bands.
No, I don't. I think it's
Bullshit.
also the little
Oh,
bands too.
I'm sure there's lots of little
I
bands.
mean, like basically, it's not any different from every single movie you've ever watched.
Hmm.
So they were very big on this topic. They were like every
Yeah.
single thing you've
See.
ever watched has come out of a controlled Hollywood like studio.
Yeah. I mean, see, I don't really agree with that. The way I
Well,
see
give me an
it
example.
is, well, I mean, independent films, right?
Like,
We still get them.
do
Well,
we?
yeah, but you might not see them, and that's why they're independent films. Right? It's out there, but they all they do is show us what they want us to see and play what we want to hear on the radio and promote that and promote that. But
Where do we
I
get
think
access to an
I
independent
think
film?
it's I don't
And they
think
need funding.
I mean I think they probably started Hollywood, but then other people started independent film, studios. And so I think it's taken them a while. I think at this point, they pretty much own all of it, right? 98% plus. But clearly, I mean, look at the music we get in that. But the further back you go, there seems to be more variety, more independence. So,
I don't know,
I think they
buddy.
start these things, and then
Don't
humans
know.
being humans, they get out and they create stuff, and then they've got to sort of own them, right? And another thing they do is, all the artists, it's not them. They go and find people, right? And then they've got to, turn them into their bitches. I mean, like Elvis, man, that was a shocking story. So he didn't seem to be part of the system. But he was totally controlled, like to the
He
point where
did seem, I
they
mean, he
they
was
just
from,
started drugging him in the end.
I mean, like, I mean, from what I took from that, and I kind of lean towards that, it's that nothing ever happens. Like, if you want to create an independent film label, like instantly you have to get funding, and instantly you're fucked. So you're instantly, as soon as you
Hmm.
require funding, you're part of the agenda. You've been taken over.
Yeah, I
I do
agree.
not, unless you're talking about some film university students made. Like, I honestly do not think that I have seen anything
Well,
that's come out of an independent
what
human
about
being.
World Safari? Remember
World
that?
Safari.
World Safari. What was that guy's name?
No, I don't remember this.
He
What
was
is
just a
this?
dude, Albie Mangles. Remember Albie Mangles? And he basically just toured the world, just went around the world and just went everywhere, like bought little four-wheel drives, went through all the forests and had all
No,
these
never heard of it.
adventures.
All right, maybe
And he
something like
turned it
that.
into a movie. I remember I went and saw it at like a community hall.
Well,
And
that's
it
about the
went
level.
worldwide and he ended up making two more. So that was in the 80s. So, but like this was, I think that there was more freedom back, but as we've gone forward, they get more and more and more control and own more and more, and then like get control of all the funding and where we are now. I think even if you made a good movie, it'd be pretty hard to get it out in on Netflix or in cinemas or whatever. And we've heard of movie makers who have done this and ended up unalived, shall we say?
Yeah. I mean, they're basically going to, and like, it's not black and white. Like, the gender will support anything that distracts you from preparing for this event. So, like, a friend of mine who's now working with carbonate, she made a documentary all about how toxic wheat is and the issue with wheat, right? And it's on Netflix. You check it out. It's called What's with Wheat. Now, that seems to be opposed to what the agenda would be saying, right? They want you to eat wheat. They do, but it's not. And this is what they're saying, that, like, the whole push with regenerative agriculture, or conservation, or saving the animals, or even like the truth seeking movement, like to gain your freedom. It's all part. If it's out there happening, they're supporting it because it's distracting you. They don't care if you're for or against it. They don't care if you think climate change is a real thing or you think it's bullshit. They don't care if you're using pesticides and that's a problem, or you're regenerative. They don't care, as long as you're focused on any of that outside of
Not
trying
the
to survive
least.
this
Yeah.
event.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it could be, especially with the rulers we have at the moment, right? They're all really sociopaths and worse. And yeah, we've seen that they're all building underground bunkers, right? And it's definitely distraction. So yeah, I think that's accurate of where we are now, but I don't necessarily think that's it. I don't think it's this reality cycle after cycle after cycle. I don't think
Because that
that
would be
the
awful, wouldn't it?
evil always have control. Yeah, I mean, and what would the point be?
No point.
What they get through a cataclysm, they rebuild society as quickly and cheaply as they can just to get all the resources to build underground bunkers or whatever they want to build, and then it happens again, and they do the same thing. I mean, it's a very pointless cycle. And it's got to be more down here, right? At least I'm going to believe that because the thing is, we've got to live anyway, right? We're here, so you got to may as well have fun. There's no use being depressed and worried all the time. And this is what again they said, and I agree with this: is the biggest weapons they use against us are fear and guilt. And unfortunately, a lot of what they were talking about was fearful. So that's why I don't take things like that on board 100% ever. I mean, I don't take anything on board 100% ever. And they didn't offer a
That's
lot,
how Campbell survives my questioning.
and they didn't offer a lot of evidence. So it was really just like a concept, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it never got finished, and obviously we didn't have access
yeah,
to
obviously.
their website. That's no longer available, and whatever was said there. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Hello. Do you want to meet? Do you want to meet Tartaria
Oh,
Australia?
Sherlock. Hello, Sherlock.
This is our Sherlock Holmes. He's a menace.
He's a menace.
He's a
He's
menace.
a puppy. He's just a
He's a
puppy.
puppy.
10 months
Um,
old.
so I mean, okay, so from and just on the last thing I'd like to say about this series was that their sense of it, the way that and I thought this was quite a nice summary, was that in the beginning of this realm, the electric magnetic field was very small. It was very weak. It was weak because we had a small realm. And so everything on it was gigantic, which I have memories of. And they were saying to the point where Eve, of Adam and Eve, take the Bible side of it out, but the first woman would have is the remains of that first being is Mount Everest
Yeah.
because she was that big and it's taken a long time to decompose that big, right? That
Mm.
was interesting. Well,
And of
whether it's
course,
true or not.
Everest is Eve rest.
Yes,
Mm.
interesting. So yeah, so their hypothesis is that this realm keeps growing. And as the realm keeps growing, the electromagnetic field gets stronger. And as it gets stronger, it shrinks everything. So everything gets smaller. So we're now living on an expanded version of the realm. And to be fair, we don't know how big it is because fucking we're not allowed to go look. Expanded version of the realm, and everything's as tightly shrunk as possible. And that, potentially to alter that, these catalytic events, and that whatever charge happens might alter that. We'll see this growth again. So that's sort of the last point I wanted to make about the series. So I think,
Mm.
if you guys never heard of it, you will enjoy checking it out.
Just don't
But
get
the good, well,
it.
so yeah, I mean, I was about to say, so the good news is that I am feeling very positive in the last 10 days, well, 5 days. I've just been waking up feeling more positive, which I think must mean my gut's healing and good things are happening because I'm feeling more positive. So it doesn't mean that like any of this has been reconciled. It just means that I have decided, Campbell, something. I've decided something.
What have you decided?
All right, I've decided that there has to be an opportunity in all of this shit. That
Yes.
instead of like moving through my wallow about how fucking fucked it all is, I'm going to start to say, okay, it is fucked. We are enslaved and we are in a caste system. All right, what is the opportunity? For anyone in our community who's conscious of this now, what is the opportunity available to you? What is the opportunity right now? You're in a really unique position. You've taken all of this on board. You've developed your thinking, your consciousness, your vision, your ability to have a broad view. You don't have any real answers to any of it. We don't know exactly what's true or not. We spent many decades trying to debunk what is being given us as truth. And now we're in a situation where we are alive, as Campbell said, and we are here, as Campbell said, and we do have to live our lives, as Campbell said. So what is the opportunity in all of this? Campbell, what is the opportunity? Now you know all of this. What's your opportunity?
Well, I think, learning who we are, going inside, trying to manifest, trying to, work out what our powers are, because I'm sure we've got much more than we think we have, and to just have fun and do what you want, right? Live a good life.
That's not very specific. Come on, give me some actual, like, where are you going to cash in on this, man? Where are you going to like make a good move? Where are you going to like make some sort of move that you can actually find an opportunity in this? As in, yes, I get all that. Yes, have a good life, have fun, all those things. I mean, I pendulum swing on all of those things.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I'm writing a book. I got to finish that. That will be an opportunity as far as a physical opportunity. Um, but I mean, I think it means also, if you understand it all, there's nothing really to worry about. You don't have to buy into the fear. You don't have to feel guilty about anything. And I think that's a relief. And also, you can, I don't have a job and I haven't in a while, so I'm definitely not going to get another one. But anyone who's in a place they don't want to be, you can, I think it's empowering. You can step out and do your own thing. You don't have to be part of this system. Even though we're here, you don't have to, abide by a lot of their rules. You can go and live your life. There's still a lot of freedom in our lower caste system, right? But I think that's
so
the main thing too, is getting rid of all that fear and worry, and you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. If you don't want you
yes,
with
you
the
do.
Kelly
You
Joneses,
do. You do.
if you don't want a mortgage, you don't need one. There's options out there. Go live in a caravan or buy a van or a houseboat or who knows. But once you can detach from the system, I think that there's so much more freedom and choice.
So, like, are you going to do any preparing for this event or not?
No, probably not. My belief is that I'll just be in the right place at the right time because I don't think it's going to hit every part of the world. I'll just be in a place where it doesn't hit. That's my plan.
Are you going to save food?
I mean, I'll have a bit. I'm not going to go overboard, but I'll probably, have lots of tins and rice and things like that. Stock the pantry.
So maybe like a 3-week plan.
Yeah, maybe a month, couple of months.
Maybe he says, yeah, maybe.
I mean, I've done like you. I've done it a couple of times before, right? And then everything starts looking a bit old, so you start eating it. And,
Yep. Yep. Same.
because this is the thing, we don't know when the date is or anything like that. Well, obviously, some people have put dates out there, but um, I don't want to be too focused on it. I want to live my life without worrying about, oh my God, the world could end tomorrow. I mean, that's to me is not a good, happy place to live, you know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I guess what could happen as a major opportunity here is that you've just got to the end of you've got to the end of the thinking on it. Like it may be that for many of us, you could use this as all right, I feel like I have, put together as much understanding and consciousness on what is happening out there and what's been happening to the best of my ability. And it's kind of, this is sort of where I'm like moving towards. It's kind of concluded in this concept, not from just this series, but from all of our work, that there is going to be an event. That event's going to happen. That it's going to shift the charge. That's going to happen. And Campbell's right. It's not going to happen all around the world, and you can put yourself into a mindset that you're in the right place at the right time, and just just do the 3-week prep thing, which is like very manageable, all those things. But I want something deeper than that.
Mm,
I want a deeper
yeah.
opportunity. And for me, what I've been chewing on, and I haven't got it to a point where I can specifically and elegantly speak it yet, but it's along the lines that I feel like there is there is powers in us or energies in us that can that have the power to inspire hope and movement, that there is some leadership that could be worked through this process. There's movements of people right now feeling very hopeless and very disempowered. I mean, so disempowered. This information for forever has been fucking disempowering. And no matter how much you want to go la la la, yep, I'm over here in the lofty 5D world, or I'm over here in the personal development world, it's still, when you come back to it, all of this is disempowering. like, how do you inspire forth in you the ultimate empowered tonality? Like, how can I reach inside me and bring out ultimate empowerment?
Mm.
And then if I manage to achieve ultimate empowerment within myself, what would that look like? And how is that going to impact on what sort of opportunities are there? So I'm just like, okay, like we're here. Now, where can we go next? Where can we go after this?
Yeah.
Like in as far as talking and teaching and speaking and energetically,
Mm.
I'm sort of like, where in that realm, where are the opportunities? You know?
Yeah, I agree, and obviously, you've had more time to think about this than me. But I mean, I've got my channels, right, and I do them. And so many people tell me that it helps, and that's one of the main reasons I do it is to just get information out there. Um, make people feel they're not alone because there's other, weirdos like me out there that think the same things. I'm writing a book, but also, I think, Tartaria Australia, right? We've been doing live events. People love them. And again, they love hanging out with their crew, meeting other people, making friendships and that. So that's another big thing. I've got some personal things I'm working on as well, which, are more to just benefit me, really. I mean, they'll end up benefiting other people as well, obviously. Um, but yeah, like as far as changing other people and giving back, I mean, my main things are the channels and our live events. And a lot of people have asked about Gosford. Yes, that's still on. We need to arrange it. Someone mentioned that they think they've already gone into Gosford and made some changes. Hello, Sherlock. But I
What
checked
a
and I couldn't
menace.
see
You're
anything.
interrupting Campbell's speech.
Sherlock, hello, Sherlock.
Look at that big,
Sherlock.
look at that.
No, doesn't want me anymore. He turns up at my door every morning and we go on a big stick throwing
Yeah, Campbell,
walk for like
Sherlock,
half
Campbell and
an
Sherlock are besties.
hour.
He just likes to eat me. Get
Um,
down, stop it. Ah, ah,
yes,
sit,
but we're
sit.
going to be doing a lot more lives. We've
Arr,
made a commitment, especially
stop.
next year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
like
keep talking.
we're so busy at the moment. I'm actually moving
Can
again
you
in
stop?
about a month. Kelly's moving in about a month. Yes, we still want to do the Gosford glyphs. Someone said that they already been, dismantled, defaced, but I couldn't find anything. So that's coming up, but we've just got to organize it because I'm moving in a month, Kelly's moving in a month, um, and then you're doing what, Africa a few months after that. So normally, these things take a bit to organize. So we're thinking you're back in January, sort of early February maybe, or some early next year is probably when we're going to do Gosford, and then we've made a commitment that we want to do a lot more live events
We're going to an
tomorrow
Australian
next year,
tour.
and travel around
Yeah, we're going to choose
an Australian
again.
tour. We
We
want to go
tried
to
this.
all the different states.
We tried this last year. This year, we were meant to do this year, but then Bosnia happened, and well, we did quite a few live events this year. I mean last year, no, this year. Yeah. so so next year we are going to do we're going to do yeah, a tour. Not so much because you guys are like wanting to hear everything we have to say, but more like it's a party so that everyone can get together and have an excellent weekend together, hanging out with a great stage production as usual, and just have the guests and do the thing, and it will be excellent. And I'm really into it because what we are ultimately aiming for is the stadium gig, which we haven't talked about, we haven't promoted, and we'll talk about that later.
Stadium.
Yes, so I mean, they're all opportunities because what happens when you get 100,000 like-minded people like us together and then focused in one time? What happens? I don't know. No one's ever tried it before. It's never even done because in order to do those things normally it would be controlled by the agenda. It would be completely manipulated. So we would be doing something like completely out of that realm and completely and utterly independent of it, and basically underground for the most part. So To do that, we've got to keep touring. We've got to tour Australia, keep touring Australia, and we're going to chuck in the UK to that mix. We're going to tour Australia in the UK, and if we go to the UK, then we'll chuck in America.
Yeah.
So those three places we're going to chuck into the mix and tour them, just so that we can tell you about the stadium gig and how you can get involved. That's it. That's why we're doing it, to get, we actually going to literally travel to you so we can say it in person, with our voices in front of you, so you can take action in that moment. And that's how we're going to do it. How we're going to try to get 100,000 people together without even rising the eyebrow hairs of the masters and controllers
Advertising or anything. Yeah.
of our caste system.
Yeah.
And then what
That's the
happens?
thing. We can't do proper normal advertising, right? We can't really let people know what's going on, or else who knows, right? We might get shut down. But we've got all the pricings on stadiums and stuff. And obviously, if you come to a show, it's going to be an amazing show too. It won't just be us saying, come to our gig. But yeah, we want to get, people together. We want to let them know what our vision is. Because like Kelly said, imagine 100,000 like-minded people in at one place in a stadium with an amazing show going on, bit of a dance party at the end, just huge energy. And then of course, there'll be people over, 100,000 people in that vicinity, probably for, the weekend or the week. We want to see if we can put a bit of good energy into the system, give it a bit of a shock and see what happens, right? So that's the plan. So lots of touring, lots of shows next year.
Yeah.
We've got some plans, maybe some mini tours that you might be able to join us on. We're sort of expanding on ideas, throwing them around. So if you've got any ideas, let us know in the
Campbell, just
comments
so you
below.
know, your internet is looking really shit, and you're just like this blank white head that looks quite horrific, like a some sort of
Oh, really?
faceless human being from some random B grade horror movie. But now you're back.
Really?
You're just
Oh my
frozen
God.
from my perspective.
I'm back now.
Yeah, well,
All right.
yeah, kind of. You have no mouth.
Cool.
Oh, now you have
Hopefully
no
we've got that.
eyes.
Yes. I've only got internet. I got internet yesterday, man. I've had so many issues, but I've got a new phone and I got a dongle. So I'm actually sitting in my dome today, and Kelly's laughing at how I look on the screen.
Yep. So it's like this is sort of all part of like, yes, we're enslaved, yes, we're in a caste system, yes, this is all shit, yes, some big event's gonna happen, yes, we're all distracted, and yes, you could get a bit prepared about it. But there's opportunities in that for us. There are opportunities, and I'm going to keep my mind positively wired to the fact that there's opportunities. And some of those opportunities is that we're going to be able to like get together and do some cool shit. Like there are opportunities anyway, and there's opportunities in your life as well, knowing all of this and how you're going to utilize this information. It's opportunities. So when you start feeling disempowered and you start feeling hopeless and you start feeling like, what's the fucking point? Just know that, like, and this is probably, if I was to sum up the entire personal development movement or the entire 5D movement in like one statement, it would be, but what is the opportunity? I think we should end the show on that. But what is the opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's good. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, do a show for the next one. But yeah, I think it's good. Like, we've done all this research, spent all this time, but to what end, right? What do we get out of it? So it's a good, I think that's a good concept. Like we should all sit down and think, okay, we've got all this info now. What do we do with it? What's the opportunity?
What's the
For
opportunity?
ourselves and for, other people, the world, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, whatever it is that you think, is your opportunity, have a think about it and get started.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just
Because
like, yeah, sorry.
we've done this show and we've had amazing experiences, right?
Yeah.
We've been allowed to travel. We've been to Bosnia. We've done gigs, travel around Australia. It's been amazing, right? And all that's all because we wanted to, get people together and, make them feel better, give them inspiration. That's how the live show started in Melbourne because of all the lockdowns and everything they'd gone through. We just wanted to, give them a bit of good energy, make them feel not so alone. And look what sprung off that, right? I don't know how many shows we've done now, but so, look for the opportunity.
I mean, and it's very empowering when you're feeling so unbelievably hopeless and disempowered to sit there and just repeat over and over again, what is the opportunity? What is the opportunity? What is the opportunity? What is the opportunity? You just repeat that over and over and over again for a few minutes. You'll start to bring your energy up. It will start to feel more empowering to you. Like you have choices, like there's options, like there's opportunities, like there's possibilities and potentials, like that you are a creator energy and a creator soul, and you can sit there and you gotta keep remembering to fuel that concept, because I fall out of that all the time. I can, on one hand, I can sit there and talk about, dream the biggest dream, dream the biggest dream. The biggest dream will win. What's the opportunity? What's the opportunity? What's the opportunity? And then on the other hand, I can fall through the gap and be like, it's all fucked. There's no point to any of this. I can't stand this reality right now. It's all been so much better in the past too. But what is the opportunity right now? What opportunity are you being given? What are you being given right now? What can you think about right now? You've literally invested 10 years, 20 years of your life to get to this consciousness. You have invested in that. So what's the opportunity from that investment? What's the opportunity from that investment? What's the opportunity? I just can't say it enough. I cannot say it enough, because it's what's holding me to a positive disposition. Don't let this investment be wasted. Don't spend all this time giving your life, 20 years of your life, to this cause, and then do nothing with it, and then feel hopeless because of it and disempowered because of it. Because then if you stop there, then you've just fallen victim to the agenda's purpose, which is to disempower you. So what is your opportunity right now in this moment? See, I feel
Good
like
question. All
if
right,
I could,
ask yourselves,
yep,
guys, write it down.
I feel like if I can stay on this positive
So,
disposition, if I can stay positive throughout this from here on in, if that's my commitment, Campbell, that I stay positive from here on in, then I know that there is opportunity for me as an excellent, excellent inspirational speaker to come in and help everyone find their power again. I love that idea. That's one of my personal opportunities. What is yours?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's it. All right, I've done my
Awesome.
rants.
Yeah, man.
Right, and Campbell's back.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
And it's dark
Well,
and cold.
I think we may have come to the end.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, it looks cold. I'm in my warm little dome, but yeah, you're outside. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. Make sure you leave us a comment, subscribe, like all that stuff. And what's the opportunity? What are we going to do with all this knowledge? We've got to go forward. Everyone's asking for solutions all the time. So maybe find one of your own and move into that. Find your opportunity.
Yeah, find your opportunity. All right, guys. Well, we love you. Excellent, excellent. And look, it's the 8th, the 8th, the 8th today, whatever the hell that means. Find the opportunity in it. And Campbell and I will be back next week, I say. We've got 10 days now to go. So whether we do one before that or in the middle, let's see.
Yeah, we're back with an update. We'll be looking like that.
Well, we hope so.
Yes, I'm going to have a six pack.
We hope so.
We hope so.
All right. Love you, everyone. Have an excellent week.
All right, guys. Stay awesome.
Bye.
See ya.